All right. What is up, ladies? We have some gentlemen on here too. What is up, guys? Wherever you are at, we are coming from live from Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So just type in the chat hashtag live so that we can have a lot more people seeing this. If you're watching the replay, just hashtag replay. And I try to make these trainings as like informative as possible. Like if you can only just get on this live training, I want to make sure that I'm giving you real tactical stuff in order to take this to utilize in your sales conversations and close deals this week, so that you can increase what you're doing, make some more money, especially because it's towards the end of the year. So let's put in the chat really fast what you currently sell. All right, I think somebody said real estate. We have B2B here, e-com automation. All right. Yes, what are you currently selling? Okay, lots of people on Facebook. Capital cars. All right. Perfect. Cars. Media. Yes. So when it comes to your sales conversations, when it comes to when you're getting on a call with somebody, when you're in person, like regardless of how you're selling, do you ever feel like the person feels almost like irritated by you? Or maybe they're like, get to the point. Or maybe they ask you, well, how much does this cost anyways? Or maybe they are like, hey, I really just need to think this over. I need to get off the phone. I got to go. Just send me some information. Hey, I really need to talk this over with my partner, talk this over with my wife, talk this over with whoever. And then you're sitting there and you're like, what the heck did I do in order for this person to get off the call? Like, what the hell happened here? Is anybody with me? Has anybody ever felt like that? Like, what the hell did I do? Right? And then when you're in this aspect, you get frustrated with yourself and you look at yourself, you're like, oh God, like, did I mess up here? And I'm here to tell you that, this is definitely not your fault, because a lot of times you have learned sales training that, doesn't really work anymore. A lot of sales training is super old school, very 80s, 70s, and triggers a lot of sales resistance when it comes to new school, when it comes to the way people think right now. So many of us are so much more woke. We're so much more understanding. We have so much more clarity. We're so much more self-aware. We can feel when somebody is being disingenuous. We're so much more aware because we're surrounded by social media. We're surrounded by things that are happening all the time, and we're just like noticing it, versus like 20, 30 years ago, like we weren't surrounded by that and we only saw what we saw. We didn't have reference of a different people all the time to where we could see maybe that this person is not being fully authentic and real. And so therefore, a lot of people are on edge when it comes to salespeople. If they feel like you're trying to sell them something or trying to take something from them, all of a sudden, like they throw up their walls and they feel super triggered by you, and you get objections in the sale, or you get them closed off, or you get them wanting to get off the call with you. So how do we remove that? How do we remove sales pressure? And what I want to focus on today is just a couple points here, and I try to go as detailed as possible in these so you can take notes and so that you can implement them. But we're going to do four key points on here. Number one, in these strategies to remove sales pressure, the first one we're going to do is not to ever assume. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Because I think that the thought is that we are supposed to assume the sale. Right? Have you ever heard that? Hey, I just need you to assume the sale. And it's not true. It's definitely a myth, because when you assume a sale, these people feel like you already think a sale is there to be made, versus you being detached from the sale and you trying just to figure out, is there a sale to even be made here in the first place? Because maybe there's not, right? Maybe like you wouldn't want to work with this person. Like maybe this person is a red flag. Maybe you are not a good fit, and they're probably going to find that out later and then call you back and want a refund. Like there's so many things that could possibly happen. Like, why don't you just allow yourself to be detached? You do not need this sale. You don't need the sale. You don't need the sale. You don't need the sale. Now, do you need to acquire the skills to be able to make this feel really neutral and make this person feel disarmed so they can even be open to what you're saying? Hell yes. But you assuming that they're going to do business with you from the beginning, it's a disservice to you. and to them. It's a disservice to you because maybe you wouldn't want to do business with this person because you're so caught up on like, oh, I need the money. Like you're not even allow yourself to honor your boundaries and see whether or not this is even a good fit in the first place. And then number two, it's a disservice to them because it makes them feel pressure. People don't like to feel pressure, right? And there's that quote like pressure makes diamonds, like not in this scenario. Not in this scenario. Pressure makes people run or fight in this scenario, okay? Like here's an example of assuming the sale is like the old like option close. Like, oh, yeah, you can either, do this or, we can do this. And you're just assuming that they're going to pick something, versus asking questions and the call to see if this is even something that they want. John, this call is going to be pretty basic. And, we're going to go over, exhibit A, exhibit B, so that you can do X, Y, Z, and if it looks like, it would help, then we can talk about next steps. Like, would that be appropriate? Now, why did I say that? I'm talking about results earlier on the call versus talking about, whether or not it would be in their budget, whether or not it would work. Like, no, I need them to think results-based thinking earlier in the call versus trying to go ahead and tell them multiple options and assume that they're going to do business with me. No. So, number two, using neutral language with a calm and collective tone. Guys, there are amount of people that still talk so enthusiastically on calls or pressured on calls or like Wall Street on calls is such a turnoff, and it makes somebody feel super uncomfortable. And I'm a fast talker. I don't know if there's anybody else that are fast talkers here, but my brain goes a mile a minute, and sometimes my brain is going faster than what my mouth is even going. And it's really hard because I'm like excited about stuff and I want to talk about it, and then a lot of stuff comes out of my mouth. And in a sales conversation, when I do that, when I'm enthusiastic, when I'm bubbly, when I'm talking really fast, all of a sudden it makes this person step back, because what it does in their mind is like, this person is not in control with themselves. This person's not in control of themselves. Like, how should I be able to trust this person to do business with this person if they can't even control themselves? It also looks like you're really needy. It also looks like you're not an expert, like you're brand new, like you're nervous, like you're a nervous talker. Have you ever been on a date with a nervous talker? Oh, it's so awkward. It's like this poor thing. Like, oh my God, I hope he gets it together. Yeah. You don't want to be on a date with a nervous talker, nor do you want to be on a sales conversation with a nervous talker either. Cool, calm, and collected. And for my fast talkers, it's going to feel awkward slowing it down. It's going to feel like you're almost in slow motion on this call, but it's almost necessary in order for them to realize what you're saying and for them to be able to have the openness to feel disarmed, to want to open up and communicate with you. So why else are we doing this? It shows that you're there for them, right? Like, you are slowing down, you're being present, you're being intentional with your words, you're being intentional with your time. It's going to disarm them, which is exactly what you want to do. Always be disarming, always making them feel good, right? And somebody's asking me if these trainings are only specific to women or can it apply for anyone. I think it can apply for anyone. So that's why I go here on the lives, but I do have a group on here for women that I specifically pour into. But my trainings, they include Jeremy Miner's trainings too. So for guys and girls, I specifically like to focus on ladies. Now, we're going to disarm, and then we're also going to get them emotionally ready to open up so that they can tell me their real problems, right? Most people don't even know the real problems that they have. Thank you, appreciate you. Most people do not know the problems that they have. They're not aware. They have no idea. And how are they going to figure out the problems that they have if they feel like this is not a safe space to communicate them? They're not even going to realize the issue or how severe it is until you ask them these questions, until they feel safe enough to take a look. In psychology, it's called a glaucoma, where your brain actually puts like a patch over where that memory, a painful memory was. And so instead of them wanting to experience this pain, instead their brain puts like a block to where they can't remember it. It's just because we're built for survival. And so whenever you're asking about pain and painful questions, sometimes people are not going to automatically remember and think about this or want to sit in that pain because we're built for survival and we don't want to sit in pain. We don't want to feel pain. We want to get out of it. And so if you're asking somebody painful stuff and you're not willing to just slow down and create a safe space for them to do so, like you're going to be at a disadvantage because they're going to stay surface level with you. They're not going to open up, and you're going to have tons of objections at the end. And you're going to think, oh, what's going on with this person? It's a bad lead. When in actuality, like you haven't just acquired the skills in order to create that safe space, to create a bigger gap, in order for them to feel the tension, in order for them to have to close today and have to make a decision to change today. And I'm just having a real conversation. 9 times out of 10 is a sales rep. And it's your skill level, which is why we get to increase that skill level so that you can close more, so that you can help more people, and so you can help your family, right? Like so much stuff that goes with this. Okay. Let's give an example of like using neutrality and tonality, neutral language and tonality. Let's see. Let's say like I was on a cold call and I'm calling somebody and I'm asking, and I finally get in touch with the right person, right? And I'm like, I don't know if you're the appropriate person to be speaking to about this or not, but you know how a lot of, companies have their accounting kind of out of sorts, and it could be causing you to be overpaying in taxes every single year. Well, what we do is we go in there, we make sure that the accounting team is managed appropriately, and we have our guys check everything to make sure you don't overpay in taxes. Would you be an appropriate person to even be speaking to about this? Like if I was an accountant management company, I don't know, I just made that up. Well, yeah. Okay, great. Look, I don't even know if we could even help you yet. I would have to first know a little bit more about X and Y and Z. Like for instance, like who do you use for your accounting services now? Right? I'm using neutral language. And I mean real cool, calm, and collected. Like this is a stranger. And the problem is that a lot of times we get on a sales conversation with a stranger and you mess up because you get nervous, you start acting all awkward. And that's the first thing that makes them feel like, oh, this person's just a newbie, or this person doesn't know what they're doing, or they're trying to take advantage of me. And then the walls go up and they get off the call. When I use neutral language, I don't know if we can even possibly help you yet. Using the words like possibly and could. Like I'm not saying like, hey, I can help you, I'm the best, we are this. Like no one wants to hear that, and they don't even believe you, because people that are insecure have to say like how great they are, and that's kind of a hard lesson to hear, especially when in sales we were taught to talk about how great our service and products are, when in actuality it's not about us or our products, it's about the prospect in front of you. Number 3, be a problem finder and a problem solver and not a product pusher. We just talked about this. Like stop coming in with the intention to close this deal. And I know that sounds like so against what everyone says, but like your intention shouldn't be that. Your intention to be sit there and just serve, and having an intention to help, having an intention to solve problems, having an intention to find if there's even a problem to be there. Now, if you're possibly saying, yeah, if you need help with cold calling, go to my YouTube and look at my lives. I just did one of those a few weeks ago, so I have a whole thing on there. Or message, DM me, and we'll hop on a call with our team, and you can role play with our team with your cold calling script, and we can give you some tips on it. Now, coming in with the intention to find problems. Most people think that sales reps, like, what are they to do? What are they doing there? They're here to solve problems. But the problem is like you cannot solve a problem for somebody unless they buy your service. So if they haven't bought from you, you haven't really solved their problem, right? And if you are somebody that has prospects that have real problems, and your solution or your product helps solve those problems, like your service or product helps solve those problems, and they're still not buying from you, there's possibly something that you're doing or you're saying or you're not asking that's causing this resistance. What if you went in with the intention to just problem find, right? Most people don't know the problems that they have. So your intention is to ask certain questions to uncover those problems, and not find just one, but find 2, 3, 4, 5, and asking questions like, how long has this problem been there? Sally, did something happen like recently as to why this has come up, or like has this problem existed for for a long time? Help me understand. Obviously, using problem as like a basic word, you would fill in exactly what the problem is for your current industry. How long has this been affecting you? Do you feel like this is also impacting your kids at all? In what way? Well, it's okay if I ask how that makes you feel. Mm. And Sally, do you feel like this is, sustainable much longer? Well, is it possibly time to make a change then? I'm being cool, calm, and collected. I'm getting in, I'm finding the problem. And besides it affecting your kids, who else do you feel like it affects? Okay, well, what about another area in your life? Like besides your family, do you feel like it affects another area in your family? Oh, your health? How does it affect your health? Ah, and how long does that happen? Is it affecting you personally at all? Mm. I'm having a real deep conversation. I am finding the pain. I'm finding not one problem, multiple problems, and I'm creating depth in those problems in order for them to feel a need to change. They have to feel a need to change. Okay, number 4, never pitch. I hate that word. Ditch the pitch or convince your prospect to buy. I'm trying to get this person to a place where they emotionally want to open up. So I feel like 9 times out of 10, I see sales reps, they get so excited. They get to the call, they go through the pain, they go through the future, and they're like, okay, this is how we're going to solve your problem. They're like, blah, 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 blah. And they just go to information vomit and just throw up all their solution on top of you. And then the person's like really overwhelmed and just throwing objections because they want to get off the call or they want to think about it, right? Whatever it is, or they don't have the money, right? We need to get them to a place where they can emotionally open up. And we can do this by asking NEPQ probing questions. Again, NEPQ standing for neuro emotional persuasion questions. And I'm probing when they express their problem, which I just gave you an example of that. Oh, in what way? Probing, trying to get them to uncover the surface. Every single problem they have is like an onion. I'm trying to dig deep and go underneath that, right? The goal here is to build a large enough gap so they feel an internal tension, not pressuring them, but building tension from the inside so that they feel a need, like they have to change. I need them to feel like they can no longer go one more day feeling the way that they've been feeling. They cannot go one more day. And then I might even ask like consequence questions of this. Like, let's say I just went through the problem awareness and I started feeling pain. We went there, trying to make a change possibly. I go through your solution awareness. Like before you started today, were you out there looking for other ways? Well, I start understanding how they're thinking. I start talking about what they're wanting for the future. Maybe if I was selling, financial services and I'm talking about what they're wanting in the future, how much money they want to put aside, what that would do for their family, what that would do for them. And then from there, I can ask consequent questions. Sally, have you thought about like the possible ramifications of what's going to happen if you don't put something in place to make sure you're financially protected in case something was to happen? Or have you thought about what's going to happen if you don't put anything in place to make sure you have that fund for your kid for college so that they can not worry about getting an education like you had to? Right? Again, just depending on your industry, right? The whole purpose of my questions and asking them at the right time with the right tone is because I'm building momentum in my call. Every single question that I ask is very intentional. I don't ask random questions. I'm just picking the correct question that I want to ask because I'm trying to elicit an emotional reaction. Every single thing. When I ask something in pain, it releases cortisol in their brain. When I ask about future, sometimes it releases serotonin. I can release oxytocin if I make them paint a picture in their brain. There's like different things that I'm doing inside of the call to elicit emotional reactions so that by the time they get to the end, they feel such a large gap in their mind from like pain and pain, future, and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. When they get to the call, they're like, I can't not move forward because I have them identifying with a new person. I have them wanting to become someone new. Regardless if you sell B2B, B2C, I have them in a new set of mind because throughout the call, I'm consistently closing doors of any potential objections that could come up. So now at the end of the call, all they have to do is like, well, how do I move forward? Like, what are the next steps here? What are the next steps here? Right? And I want you to be able to have that as well. You should be able to have like, what are the next steps here? I know that we have a few more things coming up. Number one, we have a masterclass that's coming up on next Thursday, the 21st. Anthony Vazzari and I are going to be doing a objection handling masterclass, showing you the framework of exactly what to do on any sales objection that's thrown your way. And more importantly, how to pre-handle objections so that you stop getting them, how to handle them in the call so that you stop getting them. So if you are wanting to participate in that, actually, I think I have a link. It's in my story on Instagram. So you can just make sure that you just click that. Let's see. And I will put the link here if you're anywhere else. Copy. I'm going to post this. So if you want to join that masterclass, I think there's only a few hundred spots open because the Zoom's limited. So if you're wanting to hop on there now, reserve your spot. Otherwise, if you are having issues in your sales conversations and you're getting objections, you're getting issues, people are having resistance toward you, if your closing ratio is less than 50%, there is a possibility for you to double what you're doing right now. Like, stop waiting. Just DM my team's sales skills, and we will just see like what options we have for you for training. Like, or you can keep doing this on your own and figuring out. I did that for a very long time. It was very, very exhausting. I tried as hard as I possibly could, and I couldn't get the results that I was looking for. And I don't want that for you. Like, you have everything inside of you. It's just acquiring the skill to be able to do so. So like, it's up to you. You can watch these and try to get as much as you can from the free lives and the masterclasses and everything like that. Or you can actually take the time to learn in a very, very powerful way. Like, what would your life be like if you were getting on training calls like up to 20 times a week, learning how to actually do this in a way that is almost like you're going through school, like go through boot camp, learning how to sell, like your finances would look like when it comes to Christmas time. Like, holy crap, like, do you want another Christmas to come by where you couldn't do exactly what you wanted to for your family? I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just being real right now. Anyway, so I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you can learn as much as you possibly can for this. If you want to learn how to increase your skills more, please just DM my team. If you want to be on my masterclass and you're on Instagram, look at my story, register there. Everyone else, I put the links in here. You got this, guys. I will see you next week. Yes, and my DM people is blocked, so just message me on DMs on Facebook because we message too many people. So you're going to have to message me directly on Instagram. Just DM me. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Love you all.